Now, it's my honor to introduce our keynote speaker this evening, a public servant whose journey resonates with many of us here. He's the son of immigrants who came to this country in search of opportunities. From a young age, he understood that his path would be to contribute to righting historical wrongs and fighting for those who have been harmed. He worked his way through college, graduated from honors from Yale University, and went to attend Yale Law School. Throughout his career, he has led statewide efforts for racial, economic, and environmental justice, and has worked to advance the rights of immigrant families, renters, and working-class Californians. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming to the stage the 34th Attorney General of California, the first person of Filipino descent to hold this position, Ron Bonta.
Well, good evening, everyone. Is everyone having a good time tonight? Wonderful. I'm honored to be with you. Thank you, Luis, for the very kind and generous introduction. And what an honor to be here for MEDA's 51-year anniversary. Congratulations on 51 incredible, great years of service to the community and 10 years of MEDA's Community Real Estate Affordable Housing Department. So congratulations. It should come as no surprise that MEDA's transformative, community-centered approach is pointed to as a national model. And tonight's theme, Nuestro Momento, Nuestra Misión, encompasses so much of what MEDA stands for. How MEDA continues to meet new challenges and shifts its priorities based on what's most pressing at the time. That's appropriate, to meet the moment, to rise to the occasion, to make the community's fights at that moment, whatever they are, your fights, and to stand with them. So thank you, MEDA, for that approach. Your support, including providing wraparound services that strengthen this community, have been transformative. Your consistency over the years has been a model. Your fight for equity for historically marginalized communities has never been more vital. Especially considering, as we all know, there's no real opportunity for advancement for people if they don't first have a roof over their heads. Housing is a basic necessity, and housing is a human right. Thank you. Now, the housing crisis we're facing is the decades-long culmination of many factors, including restrictive housing policies, jobs housing imbalance, lack of political will, and deep inequities that have caused uneven access to the opportunity created by California's economic success. And I was just thinking as I came to join you tonight, I was here this morning in San Francisco, not far. Had a long day, including going to Sacramento and then back here, but it's fitting that I'm back here because I was here in San Francisco this morning joining the governor and legislative champions for housing in the signing of some really transformative housing bills. So we have a governor and a legislature working with allies, taking action with urgency to address our housing needs here in California, and MEDA is doing the same. And it's essential that we all work in unison to address the dire lack of affordable and accessible housing. We need each other. We're all in this together. We all are aware that the barriers to owning a home are steep, and with the increasing number of renters, it's important that Californians are aware of and protected by their rights as tenants. And as the California Attorney General, at the leader of the California DOJ, we wanted to make sure tenants were fully aware of all those rights and protections. They've evolved over time, they've changed, they've gotten stronger in many ways. And so we shared recently our Know Your Rights as a Tenant consumer alert It's available in 24 languages for accessibility. And we wanted to take on some of the challenges we were seeing out there. We wanted our tenants to know in California that you can only be evicted by a court order. And you can't be evicted by your landlord putting your belongings on the curb. You can't be evicted by your landlord locking you out of your home. You can't be evicted by your landlord turning off your utilities. And all those things are not theoretical examples, they have happened. And so we wanted our tenants to know what their rights were. We also wanted them to know they have access to an attorney, and they can call lawhelpcalifornia.org to get one, potentially at free or low cost. There are also just cause protections. If you've lived in a unit for more than 1 year, you can't be evicted unless it's for a designated just cause. And throughout California, and this is something that's near and dear to me because I was a co-author of the law when I was in the California legislature, tenants are protected from excessive rent hikes. For most tenants, the rent can be increased by no more than 10% in 1 year. And depending on where you live, that might even be lower. In San Francisco, it is. Right here, the cap is 1.7%. So San Francisco is stronger than the rest of the state. And the housing crisis, it's not going to be solved overnight. But rest assured, at the DOJ, we're doing our part. I believe we are in a housing crisis. And when you're in a crisis, you do what you must do in a crisis. It's all hands on deck. It's all tools in the toolbox. Everyone doing their part. We need to build 2.5 million units of housing by 2030, and we're not on pace to do it. That means everyone throughout the state, including every local jurisdiction, every local government, must do its part to participate in the solution. I like to tell our local governments, none of you need to do everything when it comes to building the housing that California needs, but all of you must do something. Build housing, build it in your city, create opportunities for the people who live in California to own a home. And we're committed to using all the tools that we have to get there. I launched for the first time in the history of the California DOJ a housing justice team to enforce the housing laws of the state of California and to monitor compliance across the state. And so far that's included taking actions against local governments, like Huntington Beach, who is a brazen violator of housing law in California. Unfortunately, recently we had to take action against Elk Grove when they failed to approve a housing project that would have provided 66 units of permanent supportive housing. We also warned the city of Norwalk recently in the news to not go through with its plan to ban new emergency shelters and transitional housing and supportive housing. And we want to work with local jurisdictions. We want them to act in good faith, follow the law, do their part. And so when they want to work with us to get on track and build the housing that they need, we're happy to do that. But when they don't, we sue them. And we win. So our message is simple. California's housing laws are not optional. They're not recommendations. They are the law. You must follow them, and we will hold any local government, any landlord, any unscrupulous developer attempting to skirt them accountable. And that's not a threat, that's a promise. And I really appreciated Luis's comments earlier in that he talked about the numbers and the statistics, which are incredible, and MEDA is working at scale to change many lives, but then he also talked about human beings. And when you talk about housing, it's always, and so many policies that we talk about in California, it's about the policy, yes, but it's always about people, about the family who deserves the dignity of a home to call their own, of a place where they can rest when they're tired or heal when they're sick, who can seek refuge from the elements, sleep safely at night. I believe everyone deserves that in California. Period, full stop. And we need to keep working until we get there. And I believe that MEDA is a huge inspiration in that regard. My hope is that others will take a page out of MEDA's playbook. MEDA has served as an example across California and the nation of what happens when you make it your mission to help others. When you say, I'm going to do everything I can to help my brothers and sisters, take responsibility, act with urgency, believe in your collective future, not just your own, and do your part to make their lives better, make the community better. And at the California DOJ, we share that value and what MEDA has accomplished in 51 years and all the work that they will continue to do to change the status quo is demonstrative of and testament to the idea that we don't have to accept the unacceptable, that we can make tomorrow better than today, that we can change and shape our future, that we are not just bystanders and spectators watching our future as it unfolds before us, but we are the agents who create that future. We can write the next chapter. And that is something that I don't just think about as a theoretical idea. It's something I know about from personal experience and my own family. I was born in the Philippines, and when I was born, a dictator was rising to power. Martial law was on the verge of being declared. Free and fair elections were soon to be ended. Democracy and freedom gone as it was known. And so my parents brought me here to California, seeking opportunity and a better life and seeking the things that were being taken away: democracy, freedom, the rule of law, civil rights. They also knew that you can't just hope for the things that you want, you have to work for the things that you want. So they started working for the United Farm Workers of America. And thank you. They started collecting signatures outside of supermarkets in Los Angeles as part of the lettuce boycott, and then our family was invited to go to La Paz, the headquarters of the movement in the Central Valley. And my dad worked in the front office with Cesar Chavez. He helped set up healthcare clinics for farm workers. My mom worked in the preschool. And I saw them fight for better conditions, more dignity for the workers. Things like shade breaks and water breaks and bathroom breaks, a fair contract, a living wage. And then later, as I grew up as a young boy, one of my most lasting memories is going with my mother to demonstrations and rallies and protests, calling out the human rights abuses of the dictatorship in the Philippines and demanding the restoration of democracy. And I always wondered what a little boy and his mom an ocean away could do. And I then realized year after year that I wasn't alone, that there were others like us throughout the United States, many, of course, most in the Philippines, demanding the same. And years after it started, democracy was restored in the Philippines. And so from the civil rights movement to the farm worker movement to the restoration of democracy in the Philippines, my family has shown me that the people always have the first and last word. We can change our future for the better. We can make tomorrow better than today if we act, if we believe in each other, if we face problems, we can fix problems. So I want to say thank you to MEDA for being that example of how to shape our future for the better, how to fight for your community members. Let's keep creating a present and a future that we want and that we deserve. Congratulations to MEDA on 51 great years, and here's to 51 more. Thank you.